At 27, I had learned how to survive my father's silence. I had learned how to sit across from him at a dinner table and pretend I didn't notice when he answered everyone except me. I had learned how to smile when relatives praised my younger brother for achievements I had quietly helped him accomplish. I had even learned how to accept the fact that my father could look directly at me and somehow make me feel like a guest in my own family. What I hadn't learned was how to survive being humiliated in front of 200 people. That lesson came on the night of my father's retirement dinner. My name is Nova Bennett, and if you had asked me that morning whether I loved my father, I would have said yes. Not easily, not without hesitation, but yes. Because love isn't always logical. Sometimes you love the person who hurt you because they're still the person who taught you how to ride a bicycle. You love them because they stayed up with you when you had a fever when you were 6. You love them because you remember the rare moments when they were proud of you, even if those moments became fewer and farther between as you grew older. My father, Richard Bennett, had spent 34 years working for the same financial services company in Chicago. He had started there as a junior analyst and eventually became a senior vice president. To everyone outside our family, he was disciplined, respected, dependable, and successful. To me, he was something more complicated.
For several seconds, nobody moved. The ballroom was so quiet that I could hear the faint hum of the air conditioning above us. My father's retirement dinner had transformed into something none of us had expected. The giant screen behind the stage still displayed his smiling face. "Congratulations, Richard Bennett." The words suddenly looked almost cruel. My father stood frozen beside the microphone. My mother was staring at Daniel as if she had never seen him before. Ethan looked like someone had pulled the ground out from under his feet. And me? I couldn't understand anything. My husband had just told me that he had spent the last 18 months investigating my father's company. I had known Daniel worked in corporate strategy. I knew he occasionally traveled for business. I knew he sometimes had late-night calls and meetings that he couldn't discuss. But I had never imagined this. Not even close. I turned toward him. "You investigated my father's company?" Daniel looked at me. "Nova, answer me." His face tightened. "Yes." The word hit harder than I expected. I pulled my hand away from his. My father immediately stepped forward. "This is absurd." Daniel didn't look at him. He kept his attention on me. "I didn't know your father would be here tonight." I stared at him. "That's impossible." "I knew you were attending a retirement dinner. I didn't know the event was for Richard Bennett until I saw the invitation." I shook my head. "Daniel, you knew my father's name." "Yes." "You knew where he worked." "Yes." "You knew his company." "Yes." "And you never told me you were investigating it?" His jaw tightened. I couldn't. "Why?" "Because the investigation was confidential." I laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was the kind of laugh that comes when reality becomes too strange to process. "So you were secret." I stood in the middle of our basement with my phone still pressed against my ear, even though the call with Ethan had already ended. My husband was standing 3 feet away from me. Daniel. The man I had loved for 6 years. The man I had married. The man who had held me through every difficult moment of my life. The man who had just admitted that he knew something about my birth that I didn't. I looked at him. What did he mean? Daniel didn't answer. I felt something inside me beginning to crack. "Daniel." He closed his eyes. "Nova. Tell me." "There's a lot you don't know." "Then start talking." "I need you to calm down." I laughed. calm down? Yes. My father humiliated me in front of 200 people. I know. My husband secretly investigated my father's company for 18 months. I know. My brother just told me you're investigating my father because of me. I know. And now you're standing in front of me telling me there's something about my birth that I don't know? Daniel swallowed. Yes. And you want me to calm down? He looked away. I stepped closer. No. Nova. Don't tell me to calm down. My voice broke. Not tonight.
I stared at Daniel. Mom, you're scaring me.
You should be scared.
Of Dad?
Yes.
Why?
My mother took a shaky breath.
Because Richard didn't just take the insurance money.
What else did he take?
Silence. Then she said, "Your identity." I froze.
What?
Nova, your father knew you weren't his biological daughter.
I know that now.
No. My mother's voice broke. You don't understand.
What?
Richard didn't just hide your father's identity. She whispered. He changed it. I couldn't speak.
Changed what?
Your birth records.
My heart stopped. That's impossible.
Your original birth certificate had another name.
Whose?
My mother didn't answer.
Mom.
She began crying. Your biological father's name was on the original record.
Who was he?
Silence.
Mom.
Then she finally said,
The man who was supposed to be dead. I stared at the message on my phone. Nova, if you want to know what really happened to your father, stop trusting the people closest to you. My fingers went cold. I read it again, then again. My father. The words had been carefully chosen. Not your biological father. Not Michael. Just your father. I slowly looked up. Daniel was watching me. Ethan was standing near the front door. Neither of them spoke. Who sent this? Ethan shook his head. I don't know. I looked at Daniel. Do you? No. Are you sure? Yes. I stared at him. Because tonight I've learned that everyone around me knows something I don't. Nova. My father knows. Yes. My mother knows. Yes. Ethan knows. Yes. And you know. Daniel didn't deny it. Yes. I laughed bitterly. Wonderful. I walked toward the kitchen. My legs felt weak. I poured myself a glass of water. I couldn't drink it. I just held the glass. Ethan remained silent. I looked at him. Tell me everything. He hesitated. I don't know everything. Then tell me what you know. Ethan nodded. I'll try. Start with Michael.
The name on the grave. The officer's words stayed in my head. Michael Carter. I stood behind the yellow police tape, staring into the dark woods. Somewhere beyond the trees, investigators were working around a body that might belong to the man I had spent 27 years believing was dead. My father. My real father. Or at least, the man everyone had told me was my father. Nothing in my life seemed certain anymore. I looked at the officer. Can you tell me anything else? I'm sorry, ma'am. The identification hasn't been confirmed. But you found his wallet. Yes. Then why can't you tell me if he's dead?
Because we don't know if the wallet belonged to the person we found. I swallowed. Could it have been planted? The officer looked at me. That's one possibility. My stomach turned. Why would someone plant it? That's what we're trying to determine. I looked toward the woods again. Who found the body? Hunter. When? Earlier tonight. Why was he here? There's private property nearby. I glanced at Ethan. The house? The officer nodded. Are you familiar with the property? My father owns it. The officer's expression changed. Richard Bennett? Yes. Then you should probably speak with Detective Harris. Why? Because he has some questions for you. A man in his late 40s approached. He wore a dark jacket and carried a small notebook. Nova Bennett? Yes. I'm Detective Harris. I nodded. How do you know my father? I don't. Then why do you want to speak with me? Because your father's name has come up several times tonight. My heart sank. Where? At the property. I looked at Ethan. What property? The one where the body was found. Was my father there? Not tonight. Then why is his name coming up? Detective Harris looked at Daniel. Can we talk privately? Daniel stepped forward. She doesn't go anywhere alone. The detective studied him. Are you her husband? Yes. Then you can come. Ethan stepped forward. I'm her brother. Detective Harris looked at him. Then you can wait here. Ethan looked at me. I nodded. Stay. He did.
The man
Daniel
who
and I
knew
followed
the
the
truth. I didn't tell Daniel where I was going. Not because I didn't trust him. At least, not entirely. I simply didn't know who to trust anymore. The message was still open on my phone. If you want to know where Michael is, come alone. Underneath it was an address, an old diner on the south side of the city. I knew the place. It was the kind of restaurant that had probably looked exactly the same for 30 years. Faded sign, large windows, old booths, a parking lot with more cracks than pavement. The perfect place for someone who didn't want to be noticed. I walked toward the elevator. Nova. I stopped. Daniel stood behind me. Don't go. I turned around. You know I have to. No. Yes. Nova, whoever sent that message knows too much. Exactly. That doesn't mean you should walk into a trap. Then what do you suggest? We give the message to Detective Harris. And wait? Yes. I shook my head. I've been waiting my whole life. You're not listening. I am. No, you're not. Daniel stepped closer. This person knows where Michael is. Yes. They know about your father. Yes. They know about Thomas. Yes. And they know about me. I stared at him. That's what bothers me. He looked hurt. Nova. 6 months. Yes. You knew about Michael for 6 months. I did. And you never told me. I was trying to protect you. You keep saying that. Because it's true. Maybe. I looked away. But you don't get to decide what I can handle. Daniel's expression softened. You're right. I wasn't expecting that. He continued. I should have told you. Yes. I should have trusted you. Yes. But I didn't. I nodded. I couldn't speak.
At least you're honest.
My father had spent 27 years believing his daughter was dead. And I had spent 27 years believing he was dead. Richard had separated us. Completely. I looked at Samuel. How could he do that? Because he wanted Michael broken. Why? Because a broken man doesn't fight. I felt rage. My entire life. My entire childhood. My entire family. A lie. I stood. Take me to him. Samuel nodded. Follow me.
I looked across the diner. Daniel was standing outside. I could see him through the window. He had been watching. I walked toward the door. Samuel followed. Daniel stepped forward. Nova. I stopped. You followed me. Yes. I looked at Samuel. Daniel recognized him. His face changed. You. Samuel stared at him. You know him? Daniel looked at me. Yes. From where? He's part of the investigation. What investigation? Daniel hesitated. The one I told you about. I stared at him. How long have you known Samuel? 6 months. My heart sank. Of course. Nova. You've known him too. Yes. And you knew he helped Michael disappear. Yes. And you knew Michael was alive. Yes. I stepped backward. Everyone knew. Nova. Everyone. Samuel looked at me. Not everyone. I looked at him. What? Your father didn't know. Richard? Yes. How do you know? I couldn't speak. My father had spent 27 years believing his daughter was dead, and I had spent 27 years believing he was dead. Richard had separated us. Completely. I looked at Samuel. How could he do that? Because he wanted Michael broken. Why? Because a broken man doesn't fight. I felt rage. My entire life. My entire childhood. My entire family. A lie. I stood. Take me to him. Samuel nodded. Follow me. I looked across the diner. Daniel was standing outside. I could see him through the window. He had been watching. I walked toward the door. Samuel followed. Daniel stepped forward. Nova. I stopped. You followed me. Yes. I looked at Samuel. Daniel recognized him. His face changed. You. Samuel stared at him. You know him? Daniel looked at me. Yes. From where? He's part of the investigation. What investigation? Daniel hesitated. The one I told you about. I stared at him. How long have you known Samuel? 6 months. My heart sank. Of course. Nova. You've known him too. Yes. And you knew he helped Michael disappear. Yes. And you knew Michael was alive. Yes. I stepped backward. Everyone knew. Nova. Everyone. Samuel looked at me. Not everyone. I looked at him. What? Your father didn't know. Richard? Yes. How do you know? Because if he knew Michael was alive, he would have killed him. I stared at Samuel.